Okay, where do I want to start with this video? Hi everyone, today is Wednesday, January 29th. As I had mentioned in last week's video, I had said that this week is going to be a little bit heavier just because 2 years ago, January 29th, 2018 is when I found out that I had a miscarriage. So it was a very short pregnancy for me, but nonetheless something that is still significant to us and something that still hurts us emotionally and when we think about it, my husband and me. But for me, it's still something that I want to remember and honor every year because, you know, that was such a happy moment for us when we found out that we were pregnant, and it was such a tragedy for us when we found out that we had a miscarriage. So here's the backstory. For me, I thought it was going to take me a long time to get pregnant. Growing up, you know, I always, you know, had complications, and so I always knew that it was going to be a struggle for me to get pregnant. And so I had taken some precautions and seen some doctors before my husband and I decided we wanted to start a family. Just to kind of get myself ready so that when we do want to start a family, we're able to. I thought all of that worked and paid off, but as you all know right now, my husband and I still are not, have not been able to conceive. But again, the backstory from 2 years ago, my husband and I were really actually shocked and surprised. I was for sure when I found out that I was pregnant. And it was such a very, very happy moment for me. And I also have a video that I share a little bit more about when I found out that I had a miscarriage. So I'll link that below if you want to take a look at it and watch that video. Before I knew that I was pregnant, I just felt like something was different with my body. I was getting a lot more stomach cramps, and I was just like, hey, let's try taking a pregnancy test. Probably not that, and I'm probably just gonna, you know, having premenstrual cramps and everything. So that's probably what it was. And I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. And then the next day I went to go to the doctors, and then they confirmed that I was pregnant. And so I scheduled really, really fast to go see an OB, and to, you know, this kind of happened over the weekend too. So over the weekend I wasn't able to go to the doctors, and so I thought everything was okay. And then the following week, you know, I just kept on having a lot of bleeding. And at first the doctor says that it's kind of normal to have some bleeding when you first, you know, find out that you're pregnant, or, you know, early on in the pregnancy. But my bleeding wasn't just like light bleeding or spotty or anything like that. It was pretty heavy bleeding. And that's when I knew that something was wrong. So it kind of progressed from like light to like really heavy. And it was even heavier than like menstrual bleeding. And so that's when I went to go get checked out by the doctors, and then they, you know, did an ultrasound of me down there, and then they also did blood samples, and then 2 days later they let me know that I had a miscarriage, unfortunately, and that they couldn't see the embryo anymore. So it was hard. It was really, really hard. I'm not gonna lie. And, you know, since then, many people have come up to me and say, you know, it's okay. You're still young. It's okay. It happens more often than you think. More, you know, a lot of women have a miscarriage. So, you know, just keep trying. And I know that all of these people meant well when they were saying those things to me, but those are not things that you want to hear when you found out that you had a miscarriage, or when you are having complications trying to conceive. And I know, you know, I know quite a few people who are still trying to start their own family, who have been for many, many years. And to hear some of them say those things to me when we're struggling with infertility and with the miscarriage, it was just really like a kind of a slap in my face, because some of these people who have been trying for many, many years, you know, 5, 10 years plus years even, saying to me, oh, you're still young. You know, I just think, and I want to respond back, but I hold my tongue because, again, I know that they mean well, but I just think, like, would you have told yourself that 10 years ago? You know, would you have told yourself that when you were my age, that it's okay, you're still young, knowing that right now it's still taking you so many years to try to conceive as well? Those just aren't things that you should say to women who are trying to conceive or to women who have had a miscarriage. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say that. I know that some women, like, you can say those things, but to others, you need to be careful how you talk about infertility and miscarriage, because you never know who's in the room and what they have experienced. I also did, write a blog post about things you should and shouldn't say to someone who's had a miscarriage and also who's going through infertility. Again, I know that, like, everyone who tries to offer up words of encouragement really means well, but honestly, the best thing that I would say that you can say to someone who's experiencing a miscarriage or who is going through, who has experienced a miscarriage or who is going through infertility is, you know, just ask them how they're doing, and to just let them know that you're there and that whatever they need, they can count on you and they can look to you for support and for guidance and for prayers. You don't need to say it happens more often than you think, and to say things like you're still so young. You know, it's what is considered young? I mean, is under 30 young? Is under 25 young? Is in your teens young? Is under 40 or 50 young? Like, that's not exactly things that you want to hear. But if you want to read that blog post, I'll also link that down below, so that you can read it and share with some of your friends or other people that you know would benefit from reading that, because there are things that you should not say to someone who's going through that, and there are other things that you can say to encourage and support them and love them through that whole, you know, their whole process and journey of it all. Also, I just want to say that it's also not helpful to tell couples who are struggling with infertility to just adopt, because honestly, adoption isn't even a guarantee. It's not even guaranteed for a lot of people, and it's a really, really long process. It can be, you know, it can be months to years to be able to adopt, and also, you know, there are a lot of financial hurdles and background checks and employment and stability and all of that. Like, there's a lot of hoops to go through for adoption, and I understand and I know that it can be so worth it and so beneficial and so really needed, honestly, to adopt, you know, children who are needing, you know, parents. But hearing someone say to you, you know, just adopt, it, in my opinion, just completely discredits the fact that I'm trying to conceive and I can't. And it disregards my feelings and my emotions and my thoughts and my attempts and my actions at trying to conceive. So just telling someone to adopt when they're experiencing infertility is not something that you should say, and it's not, in my opinion, appropriate. It's something that you could talk to see if they would think is a possibility, but telling them straight up that you should just adopt or just try adopting, that's, to me, that's not something that you want to hear as someone who's experiencing unexplained infertility. I often find myself sometimes just wondering, like, why did this happen to me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Or what didn't I do to prevent this? And I can spend hours and hours just consuming myself over why it happened, you know, and I think I've come to that point where I am not questioning so much anymore. I mean, I still do, but I'm at a place right now in my life where I'm okay with it. I'm also not gonna lie that there are days and moments where I just randomly start crying because the thought of it comes to mind, and I can't help but wonder about it all. And I don't think there's ever going to be a day that passes by where I don't think about it, honestly. I don't know what else more to say, just because this is my reality. This is everyday life for me. There's not a day that passes by where I don't think about what could have been, but I can't allow myself to be consumed by all of that, and it's not gonna help me to be able to conceive. Again, my husband and I are still experiencing unexplained infertility. We've tried a lot of medications, Hmong medicine, Mika medicine, American medicine. We've tried changing up our diets. We've, just tried not thinking about it and not really trying, and it just hasn't been working for us. And I know that, a lot of people look to then like in vitro as an option, or IUIs and all those other, there's lots of other medications you can continue to take. And to be honest, I just don't want to continue taking medicine, because I don't want that to be long-term damage for my body. And also a lot of these other fertility treatments, like, they're expensive. It's no joke. And it's just, the irony of it, that it costs so much for people to be able to start a family who are struggling to start a family on their own naturally. I don't know why that is such, I don't know why it's just so expensive. You're punishing people who are already feeling like they're being punished. But that's a whole nother story and a whole nother conversation that we can have. The bottom line is, right now, my husband and I, we just aren't in a position to financially support ourselves if we were to look towards in vitro as an option, or any other kind of fertility treatments as an option. And so this year we really are trying to just focus again on celebrating and being content and happy with everything that we do have, instead of consuming ourselves with doubt and worry and fear about the things that we don't have, because that is just going to drown us, and it's not gonna serve us, and it's not gonna get us anywhere. We spent a lot of time kind of just sulking and wishing that things would have been different, and that time could have been used for doing something else that's more productive or more serving to us. So this year, 2020, of course, it's still going to be something that we think about, trying to conceive, wanting to start a family, something that we keep praying about, and, are trying to just, hope that it'll happen. But right now it really is out of our hands. And well, the only things that we really can do is just to continue living our lives, and doing what we can to make ourselves better people, to help each other, and to support one another, to love each other in our marriage and in our relationship, and to really live our life, like, honestly, just to continue to live our lives instead of trying to make our life something that it's not. Really, what my husband and I are just trying to do right now is to continue to work on ourselves, and to really build a foundation where, if and when we are able to have kids, our kids are going to be able to, have the best, and to feel so loved by us, and to feel secure, and to feel safe, and to know that we love them so much. Like, that's what I want for our kids. And maybe right now we just wouldn't be able to provide all those things if we were to get pregnant or have a child already. But I know that everything happens for a reason. I know that God allows things to happen in His timing. And for me, what I need to learn is to just be obedient and patient in that. And I feel like these past 2 years has taught me a lot about that. God has been speaking to me a lot about just being faithful, and to not feeling so overwhelmed by the things that I can't control, and to know that He's in control and that He will take care of me and Sue. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I am right now in my place and where I am in life right now if it weren't for God, and if it weren't for my husband. Honestly, you know, he's been the biggest supporter and, you know, the shoulder that I cry on when I think about these things. And so I mean, as you can see through this entire video already, you know, I usually am an emotional person, but I haven't cried, and it's not because I'm not sad, and it's not because it doesn't hurt me still. Like, it really does. And if I really thought about it, then I could probably start crying. But I would say I'm learning also. You know, I'm learning to be at peace with everything and not continuing to let it consume my life and consume me and who I am. Because the fact that I can't have children right now doesn't mean that I've lost my identity, or doesn't mean that I'm not who I'm supposed to be. I truly believe that I'm who I'm supposed to be right now. And I believe that God has someone even better for me to become in the future, and that I need to start living like that person, whether that's with children or without. I hope it's with children. But I'm kind of to that point where I'm done crying and done stressing myself over it so much, and really willing and ready to move on to the next step. And guys, it's taken me 2 years to finally get there. So if you're someone who is struggling with infertility or who has gone through a miscarriage, my heart really goes out to you. And I want you to share with me and let me know if that is you, because I want to be someone that you can talk to about these things, and to lean on, and to say things that will be encouraging and loving to you. Because I really needed that when I was going through my miscarriage, and as I'm going through infertility right now. I just need someone to say to me, how's it going? How are you feeling? How are you doing? How do you feel about it all now? Where are you right now? What can I do to help? You know, I love you. Those are all things that I really needed to hear, and I still need to hear. So I want to extend the invitation to you and share that with you, and let you know that if you're struggling also, please let me know. I want to be able to encourage and support you through it all. And if you know of somebody, if you're watching this video, if you know of somebody who has gone through that or is going through that, I hope that you learned a few things about what to say, what not to say. And I hope that you've gained a little glimpse of what that person goes through every single day. Thank you guys for listening to this. I hope it wasn't too in your face or too heavy or too much information. But I really appreciate that you are listening to this and are watching this. It really means, honestly, like, it means a lot to me. So thank you.